Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Resident Evil Podcast. I'm here with my good friend JJ. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How's everybody doing today? Good to be back on the show. It's been a while.
Yeah, Richard is just taking a little time off, so we just figured, well, the show must go on, and we're gonna talk and get into the nitty gritty of news. Resident Evil 7. Here it is. It's announced. It's out, and the teaser's out, and there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna cover in the next minutes of just probably the rest of the podcast talking about how we feel about it, how the fans feel about it, the response that we've seen, because you run your own page as well,
Yep.
so as people know. So the thing is like we are going to kind of give different perspectives on that. I've read all your guys' comments. I've read the comments on the page. JJ's read his comments, and we've talked about it briefly, but we really wanted to save our opinions for the show to kind of give it a more fresh appeal. So I'm going to ask you this. So when you saw that trailer that night, or whenever you saw it, because they dropped the trailer first, what were your first impressions before going into the demo? Like, what did you think? Were you for it, or were you against? Because honestly, I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this.
I had a wave of emotions, and I'm not gonna lie, they weren't too positive.
Same.
So the trailer started off. My cousin and I were watching together, and it started off with Before Kitchen, and we're both kind of like, Before Kitchen, okay, Before Kitchen. As we're watching, we're like, oh, okay, this is like I honestly, I thought, oh, it's like all these cliche horror games that are coming out. Yeah, PT was great, but then you got 10 other ones that are trying to rip off its formula and try to cash in on that.
Oh yeah,
that awesome idea that they were doing with Silent Hills. And so I was just like, I was kind of making fun of that. I was like, oh, mannequins, yeah, the cliche mannequins. Oh, dead animals on the ground. And like, these are my honest opinions. I know this might irritate some people that we're excited for it, but this is what I was feeling when I was watching it. As the trailer went on and the song started in, I made a joke to my cousin, and I was like, hey, it's Resident Evil. Remember they were gonna announce that? This is it, man. It's Resident Evil 7. This is what we got. And he laughed. It was just a joke, and he's like, "No, dude, it's Before Kitchen. It's said at the beginning." and all of a sudden I hear on his end, he was a little ahead of me. He's like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "It is Resident Evil." All of a sudden I seen the VII, and it said Resident Evil. I was like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, I was shocked. I was a little disappointed because I didn't know it was Resident Evil, so if I knew it was Resident Evil, I'd probably
so far. Yeah.
I would have watched it a little different, but I didn't know I didn't know it was Resident Evil 7, and I was just like, oh my god, dude! Like I was shocked, and I just didn't know what to feel for a couple seconds. What am I looking at?
Like, that's how I was,
Yeah. It's like, oh man, like this got me so disappointed on so many levels. And, like I said, my opinion has completely done a 180 since then, which we could get into. I just want to say that that's my initial thoughts. I was very disappointed. I thought it was kind of ripping off that whole first-person PT formula. And, it just seemed like that's not what I wanted. Like, obviously, I don't want the new action, fast-paced Resident Evils, but that's not what I wanted either. But like I said, my opinion changed. I'll get into that, but this is our reaction, so... Yeah, you go, man. You tell me what you thought about that trailer.
Well, I wasn't really even watching like E3 the whole time. I was just hanging out with a few friends, and then all of a sudden I go on, my Facebook's blowing up. Like, I'm just seeing everybody like, did you see this? Did you see that? And I'm like, all right, let me watch this trailer. So I watched the trailer, and I just sat there in silence. I was like, this looks completely different. Like, this looks like they are rebooting it. And it was funny because when I was looking at the title, kind of the way it was like shown, like, yeah, the 7's there, but it's just kind of saying Resident Evil, Biohazard. I was like, I feel like they were trying to reboot it without kind of rebooting it. Like, they were trying to subtly do it. That's the kind of impression I got. Yeah. And so I watched it, and I was just like, oh, well, I was like, I don't know. But then I heard the teaser's going to be up tonight, and I was like, all right, let me cast everything aside and let me just play this damn thing, because it's going to be so I couldn't even wait. So I made a European account and downloaded it right away, because we had to wait like 4 hours. So I was just an asshole, and I was like, I'm playing this right now. and I recorded my first impressions of it, and that's why I put the Let's Play up before I even streamed it, because I wanted people to hear my reaction and stuff, and I was just like, this is going to divide fans big time. But but then, we'll get into the demo in a second. But yeah, so when I saw the trailer, I was just like, I already know what people are going to say. I predicted the PT comments. I predicted the Outlast thing. And it's easy to make that because, because Silent Hills wasn't going to be first person. They just did a trailer that was first person to show, hey, this is kind of like what the game's going in. But I doubt Silent Hills was ever going to be first person. So that
would have been different for Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Same with Resident Evil. It's just different.
Yeah. So I get there, I get to that point where I'm like, all right, let me play the demo. But before that, I was looking at all the people's responses to just the trailer saying, is it going to be first person? This is PlayStation VR, so of course it's going to be first person. And that's when I was just like, well, maybe they're just trying to sell the gimmick. I don't know if this game's actually going to be like first person per se. I don't know. But the thing is I was just like, all right, well, let me play the teaser. So when I downloaded the teaser, I started up, and I'm on this other, PSN account just to play it, and I didn't give a shit because they took a while. They were like, "Oh, it's up on the store right now for everywhere,"
Yeah,
and it's like it wasn't up forever for like.
It took till 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
here for it to come up.
3 a.m. here. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I was looking all over online, and I could not figure it out.
Yeah, we were all anxious to play it, and then we play because people were like, "Oh, it can't be first person. It can't be." They wouldn't do that. And so I played the teaser. I started up. I have my Elgato shit recording, and I'm just like, all right, let's do it. And I didn't do on the first playthrough all the hidden stuff that you can do, which I ended up doing on a bunch of streams. But the thing is, I played it, and I was just like, I don't know how to feel, and I wanted to play it a few more times. So I played it a few more times. I played the demo, and I'm like, and I'm reading all these comments as they're pouring in. People are commenting on my video. People are commenting on the page saying, they don't know how to feel. Some people just hate it and stuff like that. Some people, just don't want anything to do with it. And I understand, because the thing is before I get into the demo, I want to say that before I give my opinion, I want to say, and you can give yours too. The thing is I just think that the way Capcom went about marketing this is the wrong idea. Because they recently came out, and you guys have told me to make sure that I knew, and I'm happy because that's how I found out. Everybody was talking about it on the stream, and also on the page they were saying, "Hey, Capcom, they just said these characters aren't going to be in the game. This is just a introduction. This is just
sort of like PT."
Yeah, it's exactly like PT. So, and it's highly influenced by PT. And I asked people, really, what's wrong with that? There was nothing really wrong with PT, but I understand, because Perry opposed this question on Game Complainers. He was like, well, keep in mind, they are the originators of survival horror for the most part, okay? After Alone in the Dark. So now people seem a little bit cheap that they would take something from something like Silent Hills or PT and kind of apply that. Now, Outlast, no, I didn't see anything from really Outlast. I mean, Outlast, you could say, is ripping off Amnesia because that came first. You could say anything.
It's just a first-person survival horror.
Yeah.
So a lot of people can make the connection, but I do understand what you're saying. There's little aspects, but it's not ripped off of that. If anything, like I said, it's ripped off of PT. And I'm not 100% on this, and I didn't look into this at all, but some people said on my page, as we were kind of having a discussion, that there are people that worked on PT that are working on this. No, I could be just completely making that up, and that could be fake news, but it would make sense.
That would make sense, considering Konami is like, since they broke apart, where it was like, okay, if that was Kojima's team that worked on PT, or that was someone, and that makes sense, because I mean, some people could have left and been looking for work, and Capcom's like, hey, we're making this game, and
yeah, let's do something with this. You guys worked on it. We're gonna do something similar. That would, in my opinion, it's very smart of Resident Evil to take people from the project, because the project's not going anywhere. But the formula's solid. That first person, kind of it screws with you mentally, and it's horror. And for anybody to do it, I would rather it be Resident Evil, because Silent Hill and Resident Evil have always been so close and is the top dogs in the survival horror category. So if Silent Hills is done and anybody's going to take that, why not Resident Evil? Let's see what they do with it. Obviously, well, I'll get into my opinions on the demo soon, but yeah, I mean, sure, why not? I'd rather Resident Evil than somebody else, especially because Resident Evil's trying to sort of do a reboot on their franchise, and they've seen people weren't happy with 4, 5, and 6, even though I think 4 and 5 are great games, and 6, say what you will about it, it was a decent game, but they're too action oriented to be Resident Evil games, and I can see that. I can see people's side. So they had to do something, and this is kind of their answer. So they're trying, and you got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, I give them credit for trying, and people were like, well, they want survival horror, and they're like, all right, well, let's bring it back. Let's make it dark. Let's make it gritty. Let's make it fucked up. Let's make it mess with people's heads a little bit. They're psychological horror nowadays is more common in movies and in games. So I feel like that's a little horror aspect that people like to play with, and I appreciate them for that, and I commend them for that. The thing is like, I understand both sides, because I don't want people to think that I'm hating on the side that says this game's going to be shit. I just think that at the end of the day, if you played the demo, you don't like it. If you see it, you don't like it. That's fine. You don't like what you like, but the game isn't out yet. So I feel like at the end of the day, if you're a fan that wants to play, and if you don't want to play it, that's fine. If you look at this, if you look at this and you're just like, I'm fuck this, Capcom or sellouts, Crapcom, Cashcom, whatever the fuck, all that stuff that I've been seeing, that's completely fine.
You don't have to play it.
You don't have to play it.
If you missed that action-based Resident Evil, if you were a huge fan of the action in 5 and 6, well, you have Umbrella Corps.
Hey, that's coming out soon. Yeah, I'm going to be playing that too. And the thing is I was like, well, this is one of those things where, people, and that's the thing, because you also have people in the comments saying, oh, well, look at this fan base. They were saying they wanted horror. They get horror, and they don't like it. But then you have the people defending it. Well, it's like, well, this is first person. Like, this isn't what we wanted. Like, we wanted fixed camera angles. We wanted all this shit, or we wanted survival horror, but behind the back at least. Like, I've been seeing that too, where it's like they wanted it kind of like more kind of Resident Evil 4 traditional, but with more horror. And a lot of people saying this reminds them of Resident Evil 3.5 with Leon and the doll and the fucking Hookman.
That was one of the first things I thought too when I seen, because it said in the trailer, it said Ghosts in the Bayou.
Yeah.
Which means, they're doing Ghosts. That means that they're going with the Resident Evil 3.5, because a lot of people were very positive about that and said, why couldn't we have gotten that?
They were.
At the time, I was like, Ghosts and doesn't really fit into Resident Evil. Like, Resident Evil is, for as fiction as it is, it still, explains itself well. How will ghosts work? But, I kind of warmed up to the idea of ghosts in Resident Evil. Sure, that would work if done right. We talked about this before in previous podcasts, how you could do a good Resident Evil ghost game. So yeah, there's definitely potential there.
And Capcom said, like, at the E3 interview thing, that they were saying that there is combat in the game. So, like, I feel like we're going to be fighting zombies too. Like, I feel like we're going to be fighting,
One thing that confirmed that was, now I don't know what it has to do with the demo, but the axe in the shelf.
Yes.
I got that, and I was like, oh yeah, there is going to be some combat, because until I got that axe, I was like, I don't know how the combat's going to work in this game.
Same. I was like, is this going to be a game where you just, like Outlast, where you just run? Because that was a game or Amnesia, where you literally
run and hide.
And I was just like, I am not for that. Like, if that was like the actual game, which it isn't, that's what it's looking like it isn't, because they said, hey, this is just a teaser. Don't think this is the actual game, which may be a little bit more comfortable. But I completely agree. If that thing was just like the run and hide, that would just not fly with me.
I don't know. That would,
That's not Resident Evil, man. Like, I'm not hiding from, like, I'm fighting this shit. I'm trying to put a stop.
I just don't want
to this.
Yeah, I want to fight, but I don't want to fight 100 enemies at once. I don't want it to be like hordes of enemies like you did get in the later Resident Evils. I do want to fight, but why? Like a zombie in a room. Obviously, I don't know if it's gonna be zombies, ghosts, whatever. But yeah, like there should be. And so okay, now if you think about it, it's first person, and maybe the fighting will be a little bit more in depth. Maybe it'll be harder. Maybe there'll be new mechanics to it rather than just hack and slash. Maybe there'll be, I don't know. It could be more in-depth fighting, more difficult fighting, and it's right in your face, so it could feel like you're fighting for your life. I don't know. It's interesting what they can do with that. I agree. I guess what I thought. Okay, so I got done with the trailer. I did my thinking. I spoke my mind. I posted on my page. I don't know what to think, because honestly, I didn't know what to think.
None of us did, man. We were fucking like, what is that? Like, you might as well have just shown us a different game, because that's what it looked like. Like,
it did, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to go off on my page and sound disappointed because I knew my mind could change. So I said, I don't know what to think. So then I did some thinking. I sat down and watched a trailer over and over, and I thought about it. And like I said, I did a 180. I thought, okay, well, Silent Hills had a great formula. And sure, other games are doing that now, but Resident Evil, like I said, I'm going to be repeating myself a little bit, but if anybody was going to take it, have it be Resident Evil, because I think they could do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they did have to reboot it, and maybe this is kind of the way they had to do it. Maybe it's not going to be a full reboot, because as you can see in the demo, spoilers, there was an Umbrella logo on the helicopter.
Yeah.
So it is in the same universe. That's interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, but to reintroduce mystery into the game, they had to do a new story. They had to kind of reboot the whole story itself, because, in Resident Evil 1, it was survival horror / mystery. A lot of people forgot that mystery plays a big role into these Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
And as the games went on, the mystery kind of disappeared. Yeah, you got different versions of Umbrella in later games, but we all knew it was big corporation trying to gain power, releases biological weapons, or terrorists get it. And that's kind of how the stories progress. So this is different. This is Ghosts in the Bayou, as you've seen from the newspaper. So we have a different atmosphere. We have a different sort of enemy. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
And we have an awesome, interesting formula. We have the PT formula. Yes, it is different, but this formula compared to over-the-top action Resident Evil, I would take this any day.
I agree.
I thought what they were going to do was a mix between Resident Evil 4 and like a Resident Evil 1 remastered, where it was behind the back, but I'm okay with this. And then, so I was like, all right, so maybe we'll get some more mystery added back into the story. That's a good thing. We'll also get maybe I'm trying to think of the thoughts I had on it. I did like that they are adding the PT aspect because of that. Sorry, people are talking right outside my room right now.
No,
it's throwing me off. God, let me pull this up here. I have hold on. Can we pause for a second?
That's fine.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. I'll cut it out.
I'll leave Audacity recording. We just jump back in. Sorry, 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was trying to talk, and then I could hear people saying my name outside, and it was throwing me off.
It's all right.
Okay, where was I? So I do like that they're going to be adding that PT Silent Hills aspect into it. I also did like that they're going to be sort of doing, like you said, it seemed like somewhat of a reboot, but still based in the same universe, which is interesting.
They said it takes place after 6, which a lot of people thought, like, maybe this is in the Arklay Mountains, which was, like, interesting thought. I was like, that would be awesome, because me and Richard talked about this a while ago. We were like, what if they made 7, but they made it like a prequel? And it it kind of like, it was like a prequel, but then it also like revealed something that you didn't know was there in the beginning. And that's the one thing people like get, like the teaser is showing you, like, you know how like in Resident Evil games, you'd always hear about like these incidents of attacks happening. This is one of those attacks. But except we're seeing it from their perspective, and it's setting up the game. This isn't how the game's actually going to be played. Is the game going to be fully first person? I have no idea. Is it going to be selling the VR? Probably. Is that why Sony was like, hey, if you're going to put out a demo, make it first person. We're selling the Sony VR. VR is the new gimmick thing now. I'm not really for it, personally. But
yeah, personally I am, but we can get into that later.
Yeah. And you don't need to use it. You know what I mean? Like, it's there.
That's the thing, is you don't have to use it. And I thought when they first showed it too, one of the things that crossed my mind, it's crossed everybody's mind, is this just going to be a VR game?
That's what I thought.
Then, you know, I thought about it and I was like, oh no, it can't be. You know, PT looked like it could have been a first person too. I'm gonna stop comparing it to PT because it's not.
Well, you know, but the thing is, let's talk about PT though for a second. Let's get it out of the way. The PT, Silent Hills. Now, Silent Hill, let's look at that series, because people keep comparing it to Silent Hill. So let's put this to rest. Silent Hill was struggling for a while in the series. People weren't happy with Tom Hewlett's decisions. People didn't like Downpour that much. Silent Hill fans, you know, they had their fair share of blows, you know, as far as a fan base. They would take a lot of hits from the games that they probably didn't like. So PT comes out, Now, they necessarily didn't think that, oh, well, this is first person, this is awful. They actually were for it. But the thing is that the game itself wasn't going to be first person. At least I don't think it was. I'm pretty sure it was going to be third person. But the whole playable teaser thing was first person. People liked it because they thought it was a lot scarier. It did something different. And plus, it was Hideo Kojima. So, he makes great stuff anyway. A lot of people are already for that idea. So you have Capcom with a track record of, let's show us what you got. Don't drop the ball. Let's see what RE7 is going to bring. You have people that have realized they've been making good choices. You got the Resident Evil 2 remake in development. You got the remasters that people want asked for. They're doing the right things.
Yeah, we're still getting, if you're not a fan of the new formula and you're not a fan of Umbrella Corps, you're still getting the remastered Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be huge.
Yeah, you still have that.
That is going to be huge. And they should have released that in January because, it's the 20th anniversary of that, but
should have, but I think it still has a ways to go. It's they just announced development of it about a year ago now, and it's going to take some time because they actually have to redo this one. 0 and 1 they already had done. They just had to enhance
polish it, pretty much.
And they did do 3D objects in it, but it wasn't as tough as actually rebuilding.
Because this is rebuilding from the ground. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, but where I was going with the PT thing is, it's just like, I just want to say, like, look, like, I'm sure they were heavily influenced by PT. They saw not for the overall game, the teaser, not the game, and I'm going to make that clear, not the game itself, the teaser, okay? PT worked. Why the hell can you not do this to, get people in? I feel like influence nowadays, especially from somebody such as, the great Hideo Kojima, who's now doing his own thing, which looks really cool. But now it's like, all right, well, this is something that at the end of the damn day, they're just putting it out there to test the waters and to see, and it's an introduction. People didn't give PT shit, but they can give this shit because now they're like, well, you're the originators. Why are you copying?
Exactly.
Why are you doing this? So I understand that completely. And Perry brought that to my attention before, like last night when we did the show. And that's the thing. So I get that, but I feel like at the end of the day, I didn't find it too much of a problem when I played it because I was like, this kind of reminds me of PT, but at the same time, it's doing something different. It's in the Resident Evil universe. When I saw all that stuff,
that's the exciting thing about it is that it's in the Resident Evil universe. It opened my mind to so many different possibilities of what they could do with it. One of the things was when I did start the demo, because after the game, like I said, I completely did a 180. I'm super excited. I'm super for it. I think it's great what they're doing. I think it's a nice shot. It's a nice boost for whatever. It looks like they're doing something different, and it looks great. But then I was playing the demo, and so now I'm super excited. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, let's get into the demo. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and for starters, it's very creepy. It's very dark but the graphics, holy shit, the graphics stood out to me, and that's something Resident Evil has always been known for, is having great graphics.
Yeah, it's on the RE engine now. That's the logo that pops up.
Yeah, that's their new engine. And yes, graphics do not make a game, but Resident Evil's always had great graphics.
It has.
And this game blew me away. It looks gorgeous, and in VR, wow, that would be very impressive. But I was playing through the demo, and I found a couple things that really grabbed me and made me excited for it. Well, let's start with one of the things. The house has secrets, and Resident Evil's always had secrets and different bookshelves move, and there's something back there. And seeing that in first person with them graphics, and I don't know, it made me super excited. That's what made me like totally on board with the first person, is seeing these secrets open up, like the trapdoor upstairs, the little wall that opened up with the handle in the fireplace.
Latch,
yeah. When I seen him do that, I was like, well, one, how the hell did he know that was there? But two, hell yeah, like that's what I want to see in a Resident Evil game. I want to see these secrets that that you have to look around to find. The second coolest thing that I know, this is a teaser, and I know this might not be in the game, but they had the back and forth. So you have two scenarios. If you look at it, how you normally in Resident Evil 2 you had Claire, you had Leon, you had Jill, you have Chris. Well, in this one, it was really interesting what they did with it, because you were playing in the present, and then you watched a videotape in the past. But certain things you did in the past affected the present, and I was like, oh my god, what a cool way.
Yeah, all that
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
What a cool way to add in two scenarios. like I said, they might not do this, but that what you do in the past will affect what's going on in the present, and that would be a great way to add in the 2 scenarios and just a whole new aspect to the game. I think would be great.
I agree. Talking about starting up the demo, and the first thing that I thought was, I was like, well, this has this feeling of something new to the table, and it works for the teaser. That's the thing. I think with what you were saying with the scenario thing, I think that would be cool if they did something where it's like the characters that are in the teaser, or the stuff that happened in the house prior to whatever our main character that we're going to have go into the house, if it went back and forth, and certain things that you did or certain items that you leave there will be there for like your character or something like that, like kind of like that scenario thing. That would be really cool, because since Capcom said, all right, well, these aren't going to be the main characters, people are like, is it going to be Leon? People thought that was Leon in the trailer, but then I thought, didn't they just do Leon? Like, are they going to do him again? Like again? I don't know.
I think they're overusing him a bit. I don't think they will. I've heard that too. Oh, Leon's maybe I don't know.
And people said that was not Ada on the phone, but I was like, it doesn't really sound like Ada, but it could be Ada. I mean,
it could be. Yeah.
It could be. I mean, and the fact that it's right next to an umbrella picture, and and there's all these like different endings and different stuff that you do. It's very like the original Resident Evils in the fact where it's like you do different things, get different endings. I like that. I do like that aspect. I like that what you mentioned about the secrets and finding the stuff. That we haven't had that in a Resident Evil game probably since like I don't even know, like a traditional style. I can't even remember.
Yeah, they've had them in modern Resident Evil games, but they haven't felt real useful since the older ones where you find the secrets.
Yeah, they haven't felt filled. Like they were there. Like there was puzzles in 4, and then they kind of slowly weighed them off in 5, and then 6 they're pretty much non-existent besides some Ada puzzles and stuff. Because I was just playing through Resident Evil 6 for my review, so I actually was playing RE7 while going back to 6, and I'm just like looking at this game like, yeah,
I completely understand that. It feels more useful now. It feels one thing I also enjoyed about it is Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. I don't know. I'm not hating on them games at all.
Mm-hmm.
I liked 4. I liked 5. I have issues with 6, but
same.
It's a teaser, yes, but it's in one house. The whole story of this teaser takes place in one house.
And how many hours
have people put into this one house just in the demo alone? So I like that they're simplifying it, and that's what made the classic Mansion RPG so memorable, is that you were constantly going back and forth.
That's why it was called Resident Evil. It was a residence.
Yeah.
It was like, we're
exactly,
and the cover shows like a house, and like it shows like that weird like creepy girl on the front. It looks like a girl. Anyway.
I like that.
So it's like it's just one place. You're right.
It's one place, and now the game might be different, and there's a basement, there's secret rooms, and this house, now we don't know it now because we're currently playing it, but in a few years we'll be like, oh, remember how memorable that house was, because we were constantly trying to find the secrets in it, going through the same rooms, looking in every nook and cranny. And with Resident Evil 6, it was just so fast.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them places are really memorable?
Oh,
you might remember a few of them, but not like you remember the Spencer Mansion.
Honestly, I really like the last time. I think I now 5 had some memorable things, but 4 stood out for me because I like the fact that Leon was like alone most of the time, and like I love the dark like
Very
in
gritty,
Spain and stuff, and it was like they did something different with that game, and the response to this kind of reminds me of how people felt about 4, because you have people that think 4 was the downfall of everything. And and when it was coming out, people were like, "Oh, I don't know." Like, and I was talking to Perry, and he was like, "Well, I remember people being excited for it." I was like, "Yeah, same here." But the thing is people were still skeptic because they were like, "Well, this is behind the back. What are they? This is completely different." And people don't like change, and I feel like that's going to be a topic we're going to keep bringing up in the podcast because, with us playing the demo, and I'm sure you played it a few times too since. I felt that, especially with the Easter eggs and the different stuff that you can do and the little things like in the finger that does absolutely nothing, which it doesn't do anything. It's supposed
to do something. That I read an article that said that there is a way to beat the demo without getting family punched, and that
What?
finger has some form of use.
God damn it, dude! I'm telling you. Yesterday on the stream, I was trying to figure it out for like 3 hours, just trying to like
Me too, man.
not just like not even just the finger, but like everything. And apparently they're like, all right, check the finger like below the blue wire hanging in the kitchen. I check it and the finger moves on its own. And I'm like,
Really?
what the fuck? But then there
Didn't
apparently
know
there was
that.
there was like a bug where the items move no matter what when you examine them. And then they're like, well, check it by all the ghost hotspots. So I check it by all the ghost hotspots, check the finger. It starts moving slightly every single time I check it. I'm like, what is this? Like, what's going on? It was just hilarious because it's like Capcom's just trolling us. Everybody was like, it's Capcom's way of giving us the finger. But
Oh yeah,
you
it's
know.
great though. It's great that people are putting this much time and they're as excited to figure out these secrets. People are still trying
there
to figure
is
out.
that audience,
And that means
that
there's
care
something.
about it.
Yeah, there's something for that. It's got something. It has potential. People are playing the demo to no ends, trying to find its secrets. And I think that there is a ton of elements of the classic Resident Evils that this has mixed with
I
a
agree.
whole new formula that makes it fresh. It makes it exciting. It makes you want to play. It makes you want to figure it out.
'Cause,
And
yeah.
there's no user manual on what to do. It's like you're in this house.
Figure it out.
You check, use, or delete. Like
Yep.
you figure it out. You find the secrets. And yeah, there's a little bit of story in that demo, but you're on your own. And the formula's working because people are still playing it. There's something there.
Yeah, and I think that in coming out of this from an open perspective, because they're like, I don't know how the final game's going to be. I feel like they're going to have to really impress me as far as having a whole game in first person. I do like the teaser, and I do like what it's doing, but I feel like to have a whole game like this and call it Resident Evil, you got to bring it. And this is where I can see it from the people that don't like the demo. And this is what I'll get into real quick. I think that at the end of the day, if you're going to make a Resident Evil game, you're going to have a main character that we either know and is going to be behind this first-person perspective, or it could be some parts are first-person, some parts are VR, and some parts aren't. I have no fucking idea. But I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to have to make it work. I feel like we mentioned if there is no combat, that's going to be a lot of different... That's going to be very different, and I don't know how I will feel about that, because the whole thing I like about Resident Evil is, like, yeah, they might be like, well, nowadays, because the thing is, Silent Hills was probably going to have combat, even though PT didn't have any combat, but the thing is you have, like, the thing about Resident Evil that I always liked was that you had the old Resident Evils, you had limited ammo, so you had the guns, you had the ammo there, but it's very limited. So you can fight.
Survival
aspects. You fight. You go in the save room. You look at your ammo. You're like, how the fuck am I going to pull this off? I have no idea. That was scary. People looking back on it now can be like, oh, well, they're just cheap jump scares and stuff like that. Like the dogs jumping out of the window. And it's true. Like, they're jump scares. Like, at the end of the day, it lost its scary level. So I feel like if they were to do a full game in first person, they got to bring it with the characters, with the story, with the action elements, because I feel like me running around just like solving puzzles the whole game, that isn't really what Resident Evil is. You have to have that balance of combat too, because that's what people like love. Like, oh, let me get the shotgun and fucking like blow the shit out of this alligator and let him eat the fucking capsule and blow him up. Like, that's like cool stuff that's integrated within the aspects of it. You got to have the balance, and I feel like
yes.
if you sway too much to one end, it's not going to make people happy. The marketing is already not making people happy because people think this is going to be the final product. I feel like they should release like another teaser, maybe, or a demo, maybe in the fall or something, and be like, this is like how the game will be. And then you could kind of, because this is swaying a lot of hardcore fans away from the series, and I like the teaser. I'm for it. Like, I think it's great. But I feel like at the end of the day, we won't know until the game comes out. And that's where I have to kind of keep an open mindset of how I feel about it as a whole. Like, I could say how I feel about the teaser. I like what you said, I like everything they did. It's refreshing. It's new. It's different. I like the change that they did. I just think that, like, when it comes to making a whole game, they got to do more with that concept, whether it's first person or third person or whatever the hell they end up doing, or even if they're set on first person, they might just be set on that whole idea. I just feel like you have to have that balance, because I can understand why people will not like it for that reason. If you play a game and you're just running away from, or like, yeah, you got this axe, you can kind of use the axe, but there's no guns, there's no like conserving ammo, like there's just like running or hiding, and it's like, I don't want it to be like that, and I really hope it's not like that, but that's all speculation, because I don't know, we don't know, and until they come out and say, this game has combat, like, full on. This game has guns. This game has this. There's rumors of, like, a Magnum or a shotgun in the demo, which is false. That's all bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit rumors going around. Like, you can put on the headphones when you're in the VHS tape going upstairs. The thing is like, you know, and we'll get back into the demo, but I want to say that this is, like, something where when I played the demo and I thought about it, how I feel about the whole first-person thing, and saying, okay, I actually like it. I actually think it's different, and I appreciate it. A whole game, though, I really don't know, like, what they're going to do. I feel like they have to really just show, like, hey, this is the Resident Evil universe. We got these characters. We got this new characters. The story has to be convincing, because a lot of people just talk about the gameplay, but at the end of the day, I mean, they got to write a better story. Resident Evil 6 story was fucking embarrassing.
It was
People don't even talk about this story, and yeah, we don't know a lot about it to talk about it, but everybody just cuts it off at the legs as far as, oh, it's first person. It's like, okay, but what if, like, the story is really good? What if it's, like, one of the best written stories we've seen since the Resident Evil trilogy on PS1? What if it's something really good? And that's why I'm staying open to it, and I hope that when it comes out, that it's not too much of the same thing. If it's the teaser trailer for 8 to 10 hours or however long the game is, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, if it's just like that and that's it, like, you know, you're trying to avoid, like, I feel like there has to be more involved.
What you're just saying, I do have some news on the actual writer of Resident Evil 7.
Awesome.
There's a few articles. I'm quoting VG247 right now. It's on a few different
Awesome,
websites,
bring it up.
The writer of Resident Evil 7 is Spec Ops: The Line's Richard Piercy. Piercy is also a writer on Fear. So he's a Western writer.
Okay.
I've never beat Spec Ops or Fear, but I have been told from working at GameStop, a lot of people love the story in Spec Ops. Now, it's a military game, but there's supposed to be a twist at the end. I wish I knew, but I never wanted to spoil it, because at some point I wanted to go through and play it. But people were blown away about what happened.
I've heard great things about that game. Like, I heard how, like, realistic it is, and, like, like, that's crazy.
I don't know what the ending is, but I think it's a psychological ending.
Yeah.
So we know this writer has potential. We know he can write good games. Fear and Spec Ops are two, where people have talked about the stories,
I have
over the
played.
years.
I don't know if you played. I played the first Fear. I never finished it. I never finished it, though.
I never finished it either, but it had creepy aspects to it, so he can bring a little bit of horror to it, and he can bring a good twist, or he's a good screenwriter. He has potential.
It's funny you bring that up, because I heard that the Spec Ops had, like, psychological aspects to it, where it's like you're questioning the people that you're killing, where it's like, oh, I'm killing these, like, innocent people because of this, like, corporation's telling me to do it, and it's like it fucks with you, and that's what it looks like that this game is doing. So that makes sense that you bring that up. But go on.
So that's good news. No, that's basically the article. That's good. That's good news.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were saying earlier, when to the point of Capcom dividing fans, when you're doing something new, you're gonna divide fans.
Always,
regardless.
Always.
It's going to happen. As far as if it's a good product, people will come back to it. People will change their minds. So if they do it right, yes, people that were on the fence about it will come over and play it. The core of the game is survival, horror, mystery. If they can add in an attack system with a defense system, to where you are fighting enemies, but they're not in waves. They're small amounts, but they're harder with the defensive system to it. That's great, because I think the first person adds a whole new aspect to the game.
Yeah.
It adds immersion.
Brand new mechanics too. Like, you're not having the RE6 cover mechanics. They're throwing all the, and the thing is, how many more
enemies
times
are going to be in your face?
Yeah.
And I don't know how VR is going to be. I'm for VR, so I think it's going to be super good. But I know not everybody's. It is a gimmick. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a good gimmick? Is it a bad gimmick?
It's just expensive, man. It's just really expensive, and, like,
it's very expensive.
That's not a reason for me to dog on it, but I think that a game, and people that like it, such as yourself and anybody else listening, that's fine. You could like it. I'm sure it's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah. I'm sure if somebody was like, "Yo, Ant, put this fucking thing on, play Resident Evil," I would be like, "Holy shit!" But at the end of the day,
This
I
is
just
amazing.
didn't want it to be a thing where it's like, we're doing this because Sony gave us the money. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, if they're like,
No,
you know.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I feel like if they would have marketed it different, where they would have showed the game and then at the end said this is also compatible with VR, then it's like, oh great, we have
Yeah.
something we like, and for the people that don't like it, but the way they showed it was, like I said,
VR.
what we thought was, is this just a VR game? And you know, in Sony's defense, they had to do that because they're launching a new product that's costed them tons of money. They needed to sell, and I feel like between Oculus, Vive, and Sony did it right. They showed good-looking games. It was game after game after game, good-looking games for their VR. And when you look at the Oculus and the Vive, they might not have had as strong. Like, to me, a lot of their games are tech demos.
Yeah,
they're expensive tech demos, and there's no real game. There's, like people will say, there's not that one app that will make you go out and spend $600 to $800. But Sony, on the other hand, the one I thought, between the Oculus Vive, the Sony was the least that I wanted, but they showed the games, they brought it, and that's kind of what they had to do with Resident Evil. They had to show it as that. So I get why they kind of set it up as this VR experience. They had to.
Yeah.
But it's not. And we played the demo. It's great without VR. Mm-hmm. So you don't
not need it.
It's just
it's not needed.
It's a good added bonus to it.
Because if the game was shit, and then you're like, well, then it was a gimmick. Then you know what I mean? Because like if you play the final product,
it was made for VR. And if you don't play in VR, but it still might be like that. I don't know.
We don't know.
Played the
it's got to come out in January, and we have to see. And that's why I feel like at the end of the day, and me and you can see eye to eye on this. It's just like you have to just try to ride the wave and be like, look. We don't want them to drop the ball. We don't want to see Capcom drop the ball. We want to see them do successful. We want the series to keep going. And now you're just like, well, we're just kind of sitting here like, all right, well, the teaser was good, so what now? We're just kind of like up in the air because we want to either see another trailer, we want to see a character reveal, we want to see maybe some enemies revealed. And I think at that point, that's when we'll be able to come on another show, talk about it, see what fans think about it. And so we got to take it as it comes. So like you said, change, you're always going to have a mixed reception because you put that in a good way. You're always going to have that no matter what. And and people at the end of the day, they're just like, well, we just expected something different. We wanted something like Remake where it's just like fixed camera angles and that's that. But I feel like at the end of the day, with a lot of the things, especially with the whole behind the back stuff, it's like, how many more times can you do that? With like Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6, looking at those games, how many Revelations included, how many fucking more times we're going to have the same formula, even if you disregarding the stories. So I feel like them doing this is just saying, hey, look, we're trying something different. Let's just see who's on board. And for the most part, people have been liking it. Like I've seen, like I said, it's pretty 50-50. It's not really... But I've seen a lot of negativity at first, and I saw people saying this is awesome. Stop complaining, everybody. This looks cool. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. And yeah, I say give it a chance. But at the end of the day, it's like, as I like the demo, I still I said I just don't agree with the way they kind of started marketing it, throwing this out there because it can, let alone RE6. Looking at that left a bad taste in people's mouths. Then you have this coming out, and they're just like, well, this is exactly another thing we didn't want. Even though it's like, it's survival horror. I mean, this is kind of what you asked for. It's not, first person. Like, yeah, you didn't ask for first person, but it's like, this sure as hell this ain't fucking action. I'll fucking tell you that much.
Exactly.
This is not action. This is not like fucking explosions and it's just gonna be these this story of a possible umbrella coming back or something, and we'll get into the little nicks and crannies of the demo in a bit. But yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, and I agree with you. I think at the end of the day, we just have to wait and see, and we're trying to just stay open and positive about it, and like I said, if you guys listen to this and you are just shaking your head right now, you're saying, I don't agree. That's perfectly fine. You guys
everybody has their opinion.
You have your opinion. As long as you're not bandwagon jumping like half these people, that's the thing. A lot of people.
I was worried that was going to happen because there was a huge wave of people that didn't like it. That the Call of Duty trailer. Like you get a group of people that don't like something, and a lot of people like to jump on board, just to be part of that bandwagon. And I was hoping that wasn't going to happen with Resident Evil because they're putting in an effort to make something different that we wanted. And instead of jumping on it too early, let's give it some time. Let's wait and see how this goes.
It's still early. We got 6 months, right? between now and about 6 months.
And I could see it from both sides because, like I said, after the trailer, I was extremely disappointed and let down. I said, I waited years for this. And then after I did some thinking and played the demo, I'm super excited. And the demo gave me enough to have me want more. Like, it gave me just enough to be like, okay, I love this formula. I love this aspect. Let's see what you're going to do with it. And that's kind of why I was thinking when you were saying we need to see more. We need to see what they're doing. Maybe to get more people on board.
Yeah.
But for people like me that are excited, I've seen enough. I just want to see the game now. Like, you know, and good on Capcom for showing Resident Evil 7 and saying, hey, it's going to be out soon.
Yeah.
It's
They've
not
been
a
doing
game
this
that's
for
going to
a
be
while.
out.
They've been doing this for a while. So
yeah. And they didn't show anything about it previously, and I'm actually happy for that because you get games like EA had Mass Effect. I was super pumped to see Mass Effect.
I cannot wait for Mass Effect.
But it was all CG.
Yeah,
There was like almost no gameplay, and you're like, oh, great, I wanted to see it, but what, now I got to wait another 2 years to get this? Resident Evil showed you the game. It's out soon. Maybe there'll be a little bit of a pushback. I don't think it'll be much, but we're getting the game soon. It's not a game that's 2 years out. And a lot of people want to see Resident Evil, me included, or if the game's not close to being ready, maybe don't show it. You know, show it closer to when it's supposed to come out.
Yes.
So,
yeah. You know,
I don't know.
I mean, because I also feel like they should have, I mean, you know, it's probably an exclusive thing with PlayStation, but they got to release this demo on Xbox and PC. Please, let the people that can't play it, play it.
Yeah.
Because
that's actually...
that needs to happen.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. But yeah,
well,
go ahead.
You said that they're marketing it poorly, and I kind of understood that, you know, they, like I said, with the whole VR, but now that you bring that aspect up, why... Yes, it is being marketed poorly because why it's coming out for Xbox, PS4, and PC, and probably have a deal with Sony. But why not let everybody play it?
Please
why not
let let people play it so they can stop watching or listening and play for themselves. And so like what you said, you saw the trailer, but then you play it, and a lot of people can be like you, where it's like I'm hearing all this shit, I'm seeing all this stuff, I actually want to play it. And then they can't make a justified opinion because they can't play it, and it's not their fault, you know, or maybe they don't even have PlayStation Plus because you need Plus to play it, you know.
That's another thing. Yeah,
you know, we have a PS4, so we're fortunate enough to play it. But the thing is other people that are fans of it, you know, some people are just on PC or some people are on Xbox One, and they're just like, well, you know, what the hell, you know, and that could be, you know, they should maybe within the next few months if there's something with
I'm
Sony,
sure they
could
will
release it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they do, then I'm okay with it because obviously they had some deal with Sony, and that shit happens.
Yes,
for as much as people
always.
don't like it, that happens. And if they do end up releasing it on PC and Xbox, then they'll redeem themselves. But they have a game that's going to divide people. Your goal is to get it out to as many people as possible so they can see for themselves if they are actually going to like it or if they're going to dislike it, rather just hating on it. And when you put it on one console, you're going to get hate just because of that.
Oh yeah,
if you have
they already are,
and you know that's hurting them. So yes, you're right. As marketing wise, that kind of is. They're not doing a very good job there. But like I said, they have a deal. This happens. Let's just hope it comes out on Xbox One and PC, and then more people will jump on board. As far as you were saying about the mixed responses, you look at the video on YouTube, and I haven't looked at it in a couple days, but I don't know. Did it get worse? It seemed to be much.
Hang on.
Yeah, please check. It seemed to be much more positive than negative. But then you go to my Remake Resident Evil 2 fan page on Facebook or my Residents of Evil page on Facebook, and it's a lot more negative. And you know, people either really like it or they hate it. And I would like it to be more positive, but people, like I said, they just need to get it out to people. They need to let people play it. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do need to show a little bit more. I just don't want them to show too much.
Well, here we go. I mean, they sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
They're just like, there's people that are still giving the comments, but the like to dislike ratio, the likes, 15,000 likes, 3,000 dislikes. So it feels like
that's good.
That's pretty good, because if you go on like a Umbrella Corps video or a Resident Evil 6 video, they're like, fuck, that dislike button is smashed to the ground. Like they're like, fuck this. And
so it's not as bad for being something so different and dividing so many people. That's not bad. I was expecting way more at this time. That's pretty good. That's good. I'm happy for
argument here is more so of like, well, now it's first person. That's the thing. Because they're just like, it's not even the fact that this isn't horror. Now the new argument, the new thing on that's fresh to the table is, well, it's all now this just looks like generic shit that like people that like, you know, do scare cams do and shit and do all this. It's like
that's kind of what they're going for, though. You know that Capcom does, like, they see another game do something that is successful and they want to copy it, and that's why you had a mess of RE6. They seen, oh, it's sharded, let's add that in. Oh, you know, Call of Duty, let's add this,
let's add that. Yeah, and it was just
and at
like,
least they're going for the right things now rather than the wrong thing, and they're not trying to throw too much into the pot. They see that this jump scare thing is big on YouTube, but people are scared, and for people to say, oh, you know, it's just jump scares, it's cheap, as you were saying earlier. You know, the old games had jump scares, that's what they were, and for video games it's really hard to make people genuinely scared.
Yeah, I agree.
And you need to add in jump scares and cheap scares.
Yeah, and now they're not even
video game,
like,
you know, you're not already fully in it because it's a video game. But now that it's first person, it adds in that new aspect to it, that it's much more immersive. And then the jump scares definitely add to it. I know people say they're cheap, but they add to it, and they always had jump scares.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I was going to say, in this one, it seems like they're not even doing jump scares. It looks like it's really more like fucking with your head psychologically.
That's another thing. They did have the jump scares where the guy walked by and the mannequin fell over.
Yeah.
But just think if they add a little bit of jump scares, a little bit of, say, you know how in the Nemesis, in the Resident Evil 3, you're always afraid of the Nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine trying to run from something in first person in a house where it's chasing you?
Oh my God.
And then you have that aspect, which is kind of like the Outlast, whatever. But then you have that aspect, so you have some of the jump scares, you have some of the tension, and then okay, say you come face to face with an enemy, and then you have an attack and defense mechanics into the game, and then you have, you know, that tension as well. Like, I'm gonna die, all I have is an axe. It's not just a hack and slash. This thing's fighting me too. We have no idea if that's gonna be in there. But these are just exciting things that we can think of. Like, you can have all the layers of fear rather than
the
just
realm
having
of possibility is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to what we keep saying, it has potential.
There's more positive than negativity here, guys. Unless they really drop the ball and we play the game, we're just like, it's kind of like it didn't really do anything, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then that's
I
something.
Hope they don't drop the ball.
That's what I'm saying. We're all hoping. And like I said, it's easy for people to just be like, I'm done. Fuck this. I'm done. You know, and I understand. I just think that if you have a chance, if you're one of these people, if you have a chance to play it, if you have a PlayStation, or if it eventually comes out to Steam and stuff like that, and Xbox, because I feel like for computers it will be Oculus Rift. That'll probably be the thing it's supporting.
Yeah, and that's exciting because that's going to be, once it's on PC, the demo's on PC. If they put the demo on PC, we're gonna get to try the VR. People are gonna cater that VR to it. Yeah, so we're gonna actually get to experience it, and then we'll see how that is. It gonna be smooth enough? Is it, you know, is it?
Have you tried an Oculus before, or any kind of VR?
I have. I've tried DK2, the development kit, before the Oculus was released, and that's what kind of put me on board with it. It was not perfect, and at times it wasn't. It's good. It's a whole new aspect, but it wasn't perfect. Obviously, it was a developer kit, but it showed you the potential in VR, and it showed you, if it was done properly, how awesome and immersive VR can be. It took a game like Minecraft that everybody's played, and I was standing on a hill, and when I looked down with VR, it gave you that depth, that, wow, this is, you know, really far down. Whereas when you're normally playing the game, that never crossed your mind. You're like, yeah, you know, it's not perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it gave you a whole new aspect, and a whole new way to play games. And I think in a game like Resident Evil 7, if they do it and do it right, VR is going to take that game on a whole new level. And another thing that when I was playing the demo, when you're looking at the stairs that drop down, and it gives you a sense of, oh, there's hidden secrets in this game. Seeing that in VR, in that first person, that really puts you in the house. That really adds that layer of, wow, you know, I'm doing this. I'm here doing this in this house. You know, just think of Oculus or Vive or Sony in the Spencer Mansion.
Oh yeah,
wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be so awesome.
Yeah, and you know, people say, well, that's not Resident Evil, but it's the new thing. So let's give it a try. Let's see how it goes. And if you can't buy VR because it's expensive, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. Yeah, that's why I like the option. I like that it's there. I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to have people that are like, well, you know, it's like, I don't want it to be trying to appeal. Like, it's kind of like, how, you know, yeah, let me use this example. Like, it's like a movie, right? A movie, that's in 3D, so they try to like do things that hone to the 3D, but it's like, but nobody.
That's the worst.
But it's like, and I know, and people have been making that too, where it's like, yeah, but like, what if like people don't care about VR? Like, what if they're just trying to do stuff that appeals to VR? And I feel like if they did that, I don't think they're gonna do that. I feel like they're a lot smarter to be like, well, people aren't gonna be able to afford this. People aren't gonna, first of all. People aren't going to want to buy the fucking new PS4 that's going to be coming out. I'm not going to be buying it, okay? I'm tired of this fucking shit, okay?
Yeah,
I'm not buying it.
yeah.
I'm sorry. And I'm a Sony fan too, and like that's the thing. And Perry always busts my balls about being a fanboy and stuff like that, which I'm not. But, he just breaks my balls about it, which is funny. But the thing is that I'm not buying it, and at the end of the day, they're not going to try to make it for that audience because they know that people that just have any console, any Xbox One, PS4, PC, whatever, don't have it. So Capcom would be foolish to do that, and I don't think they're going to do that because, I don't know if you've seen comments like that where people have been saying that they're trying to just do this for a VR stunt, kind of. I don't think so. I really don't.
I don't think it. I think they're smart people. They made stupid decisions, but they know that if they did that and the mass majority of the people that are playing their game aren't using VR and it was made for VR and you're not, it's going to really hurt them. It's gonna almost kill Resident Evil franchise because a lot of people are already on the fence about it. So if you make the game from the ground up for the VR and then you take the VR out and it gets rid of a lot of the aspects of the game, they're gonna lose business.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna lose money. And, I think they regardless, they're going to have a fun game with or without.
Yeah, and but that's good to hear that you, and especially if you get it on PC, I'd love to, have you back on the show and hear your thoughts on how it is in any kind of VR thing, because unless I end up jumping on board, which I don't think I will anytime soon, because it's expensive as hell. But it's because it's like at that rate, I might as well buy a new console, or upgrade my graphics card on my PC, which I want to do. Considering Microsoft is bringing Gears of War 4 to PC. Let's give a clap for that. But anyway.
Yeah. But I think that was the biggest news of Microsoft.
That was. You can play anywhere. That's fucking awesome.
I love that because I always said I don't want to buy the game multiple times. I have a computer, I have an Xbox, and now that they're making it
all
so that if you buy a game on one.
You could play with anybody on Xbox One, which is like amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for people who are going to be playing first-person shooters, though, for the fact that if you have a keyboard and mouse, you're going to dominate the battlefield. I'm not a keyboard mouse fan. I like controller.
I don't think there's a way to nerf any of that stuff. Like, they can't fix that.
I don't know how, but that's going to be the only problem I see with it. Everything else looks fantastic.
It does.
Just getting off subject for 2 seconds. E3 was amazing this year.
It was really good.
Microsoft did an incredible job, and I was shocked to see.
They stole the show.
I thought they stole the show, and then when I seen Sony, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and I was like, "Damn, they're
Sony
close.
Brought it.
They're close." I feel like they had enough content there. They should have announced Red Dead, though. They should have at least announced Red Dead.
I did hear a rumor, and like I said, I could be totally talking out of my ass right now, but the rumor was, and I heard this from a friend, Red Dead Redemption 2 was supposed to be Sony's closer. It was a scene of somebody shooting up a saloon, and that was too soon.
Shooting,
so they pulled it, and it may I could be wrong, but it makes a lot of sense because with as strong of a conference they had, to end on a Red Dead only made sense and would have been the cherry on top.
Oh my god!
The game they showed looked excellent, but you kind of like really like this is what they're showing as their end. You would think it would be one of their more popular titles instead of a new IP. But I don't know, that to see Red Dead would have been epic. What they had was already great. Like really
that would have
good.
topped it off.
Yeah, rumor, but makes sense.
Makes sense. And Rockstar is known for having controversy pointed at them from GTA.
It's just bad.
That's the last thing they need.
Bad time.
Especially when promoting a game that I've been waiting for like 5 years or 6 years at this point. So.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I love the first. Well, not the first one, but the second one.
Second one, yeah. I did play Red Dead Revolver. I love that game too.
Yeah, I played that one.
But yeah. So back on Resident Evil though. I think at the end of the day, Capcom, they're not going to do that. They're not going to be like, well, this is just for VR. We're doing this. I feel like they're going to make it their own. If the whole thing's first person, they're going to make it their own. And I feel like staying positive, trying to keep an open mindset, as being a fan and trying to stay positive for all of that stuff, I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to have, you're going to want to stay in that mindset where it's like, all right, I just want them to make all the right moves and that'll be it. At the end of the day, I find people always wanting to, like appreciate it for what it is and trying it. And then you also see the people that just, they want to like kind of brush it under, act like it's not happening. And then you also have the audience, which I think are hilarious. They're just like, fuck this. I just want Resident Evil 2 at this point.
Yes, tons.
You always have that audience, which I respect.
The great thing is you have choices.
You do.
You have choices. You don't have to do anything. That's why I love the Umbrella Corps, which I don't want to bring up too much because that pisses a lot of people off.
It does, yeah.
You don't have to get that. You absolutely do not have to get that. We still have the actual Resident Evil 7 coming out and the confirmed remaster or remake of the Resident Evil 2. So you have choices.
You do.
And another thing with Resident Evil 7, a lot of people did want that fixed camera angle. And as much as I wanted it too, that doesn't work with modern day games. And I think that having first person is the closest thing we would get to fixed camera angles for the reason that you can't see what's around the corner. And it gives you that element of what's coming. I can't see what's over there. I can't see what's over here. Whereas third person gives you the angle where you can just kind of see around a corner before you go there, know. And that's why I think that this is kind of off topic of where we were going, but that's why I think that when I lost my train of thought.
Camera angles?
That's why I think that if a game it shows that it's VR, it shows that it's first person, it's not going to let you switch between third and first because that would be like going from fixed camera angles to third person. It wouldn't work. It would take out the whole it would complicate the game. The game wouldn't work. They set it up for that experience, and if you added another experience to it, it's gonna screw up the game. The game's mechanics, I guess you could say. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was under the impression because of Remake doing so well in the remaster that they would be like, well, all right, let's make it fixed camera angles.
True.
Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well,
that's what I was hoping for.
Well, that's what I hope they do for Resident Evil 2. I hope they apply that to Resident Evil 2. Please.
And I'm sure they will.
Please.
I'm sure they're going to do.
Cameras. I don't.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. My Resident Evil 2 like remake thoughts video has been getting comments here and there constantly because it's a more popular video. People have been watching it, and I brought up, I was like, please do fixed camera angles, and then everybody was just like, yeah, please do it. And then you have some people that were just like, well, it would be cool to have like either the option or to have like behind the back.
It wouldn't work with the option.
But I just like it doesn't really work with that because it's like
no,
that's not Resident Evil 2. Like I was like, when I think Resident Evil 2, I think police station, fixed camera angles. I think of those angles that they made those cameras. I don't think
you have to.
Yeah, you have to. So if anything, if Capcom's listening to fans so far by making things horror related, when it comes to Resident Evil 2, no, they're not going to make it first person because that's another thing I saw on the fucking thing. They're like, oh, what are they going to make Resident Evil 2 first person? Oh, they're going to. It's like no, because the whole idea of a remake is to remake it, but then add like more shit in, just like they did with remake for GameCube. They kept it fixed. They just added more with the graphics. They added more environments because they can actually fit it on the disc, unlike a PS1 disc, which I think held like it's a CD, so it was like 700 megabytes, I think, and the game didn't even take up the whole disc, so it's like, and that's why in the back of the case in the first game, if you look at it, it's like, oh, go through cemeteries and stuff. They didn't have a cemetery in the original, but it's on the back of the case. But if you play Remake, they put it in because they can fit it. So don't worry about Resident Evil 2. They're gonna. I trust them. I think it's another team that's doing 2. Like it's a Capcom, but it's like another division, I think. Yeah.
I trust them, and I guess that's not what's the focal point right now. The focal point, what they're showing, is Resident Evil 7, and let's see what goes on with that. And I know from Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 Remastered, they do a great job. Mm-hmm. I'm not even worried about that at all. I'd like to see something, but I'd like to see something when it's closer to being ready.
Yeah, they could probably release a trailer in the fall too, like near the end of the year, and be like, hey, it's coming next year.
Very true. I don't think they want to. I think they want to keep. They like to keep the attention on what's coming.
Yeah, they got to keep it separate. There has to be some kind of division where it's like, all right, we got to, we got these fans.
So I think next year we're going to see something on Resident Evil 2, and that would be the smart time to do it because let's gain the hype for Resident Evil 7 now.
Yeah.
And then if a lot of people aren't happy with it, then they'll show, hey, but we also have this Resident Evil coming out. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if it does great, then they're like, oh, we also have this Resident Evil coming out if you want more Resident Evil. So it would be, from a marketing standpoint, much smarter to announce it after the opinions come out on the Resident Evil 7. Regardless, it's going to be good either way, because then they're going to be like, oh, you didn't like it? Well, we got the old formula here you can play. Or, oh, you did like it? Why not try extra Resident Evil? So I think we'll see something on that next year for sure.
Now, let's get into the little secrets of the demo, because we talked about how we feel about it. We talked about our opinions on it.
Yeah.
So to top it off, let's talk about kind of like how we appreciated a lot of the different endings, a lot of the the different little details that they put in.
I guess I'll start off. When I first started playing it, because it was so much like PT, I knew there had to have been different endings. There's different ways to do it, and I knew there had to have been an actual ending, and I wasn't surprised when I found out, yeah, exactly, there's different ways to get different endings. And I thought that was really cool. That was a way to take just this house you have, these 5 rooms, small house.
Pretty simplistic house, yeah.
Yeah, a simplistic idea, and expand on it and make people keep coming back for more and more, is that you add in these secrets and you don't tell people how to get to them, and people want to figure it out. So I was very excited for the secrets. I thought that it added back a lot of the, like I said earlier, a lot of the aspects that made Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And exploration, exploration's back, trying to find these secrets, trying to figure it out. There's that sense of mystery. Well, what's in this house? Where are these? There's more rooms. I just got to get to them. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, the whole idea of like doing stuff in a different order, because I got all the endings as far as I know that I know of. I got 4 different endings. 4. The first ending is, and I did it on stream for everybody to see, because they were like, "Can you please do all the endings real quick?" And I was like, "All right." Hour later, I was still doing all the endings, but it was really fun though. Shout out to everybody who was on the stream. Thank you.
Your stream blew up. You should mention that.
It blew up. Yeah, I had fucking like almost 800 people or 900 people. It kept going up and down. But it was like I stayed in that 800 range of just people, like new people saying, "Oh, I'm gonna subscribe to you. Like, you're awesome. Like, thanks for like being so like laid back and not like yelling and screaming and being all like over dramatic and stuff." And all these new people. And let me say, like, nothing against Twitch, but every time I'd have to stream on Twitch, I would always have to let people know that I was streaming on Twitch from YouTube.
Yeah,
if I stream on YouTube, it's so much easier. It's so much easier.
I've streamed on both, and I did really like YouTube. I still stream on Twitch, but I still have the issue where people will be like, "Hey man, it didn't let me know you were going live." When I seen you were streaming on YouTube though, I was like, this is smart for Anthony, because he has his base on YouTube. You have almost 3,000 subscribers, and they're all being notified or being let known that you're going live. So yeah, I mean, that's the perfect place for you to stream.
Yeah.
You should stick with that YouTube thing. Yeah. That works well for you.
And it brought in new people too, because I never like looked out for streams on YouTube, like try to find streams, but I guess like there's people from like Brazil and fucking like all these. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, and it was so cool, and like you guys listening, like you were so helpful and like telling me different theories, and I was listening to all your opinions. I was giving you guys some shout outs, and you guys were subscribed. So thank you a lot. I gained a lot of attention through there, and I'm really happy to keep streaming, and I want to stream some more stuff too when we find out some more stuff for the demo, because there's still stuff that people are figuring out about this demo, and that's what I appreciate about it. Like all the the streaming aspect and stuff, doing the endings for all you guys, I appreciate all that shit. And but as far as the endings concerned, yeah, there's different endings. You get the standard ending where you watch the tape, you go under the thing, you get the key, and then you go in the back door. That's it. But then there's also the one where there's the phone call ending, and there's 3 different variations of the phone call endings, 3 different dialogues. The girl on the phone says different things to you, and what you do is, instead of, for anybody listening who might not know, if you're playing, what you want to do is, so you get your standard ending of getting the bolt cutters, opening the cabinet, getting the tape, putting the tape in the VCR, playing through the tape, and then that's it. But then you can also, at the very start, since you know where the latch is under the fireplace, you click that, and then the secret password will go up. If you do that first, the fuse will be on the table. If you do the latch last, after you get the VHS tape, it's not going to be there. So if you grab the fuse and you put it in the fuse box, it's going to make the stairs on the upper level go down. You click the button, the stairs comes down, and then the phone starts ringing. You pick it up, and she says something about like, "Oh, like you don't know what's coming," or some crazy shit. She says like different stuff all the time, and then all of a sudden, there's a picture next to it, and it's an umbrella logo on a helicopter, and then you turn it around and it says, I think they're watching us from the helicopter. So you're just like, oh God, what the hell is Umbrella going to be doing? And it kind of sets up story elements, and I like that. I really like that, actually, because it makes me feel like I'm like a part of the universe that I love so much, the Resident Evil universe. Considering this is so different, it really made me feel like, comfortable and more comfortable with the game. And then there was another one where, like, if you do the fuse and then you get the VHS tape and do it in that order, the dialogue is slightly different. And then you, if you're in the tape and then you get the lockpick between the microwave and the fridge, you can unlock the drawer, and like what JJ was saying, it gives you the axe. So then when you go out of the tape, the axe will be in the drawer there, and you pick it up. It doesn't really do anything. I tried chopping the mannequins, chopping the boxes. We tried everything, folks, in the stream, and they just are fucking with us right now. They're like, oh, you want to play more? Well, too bad. Like,
pretty much.
But
that was a great explanation on the endings, Anthony.
Yeah.
You covered it.
Yeah, I try to cover it like that's pretty much like and then also, if you do what I said, and then if you let the phone ring just once, if you rush to the phone, the dialogue will be different. So let it ring. Yeah, let it ring. Like, it can be ringing on its second time, I found out. Like, if it rings once, and then as you're picking up, if it's ringing a second time and you answer it, then the dialogue will be slightly different.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I knew that they said, if you go upstairs and you don't look at the mannequins and make sure the mannequins aren't looking at you,
that too.
And then you answer the phone, then it'll be different. I don't know. That's just so cool that they have that, and people are figuring this stuff out. And I want to go back and I want to be like, I want to be the one to figure it out. But it's like, so many people are playing it and so many people are putting so much time into it. I'm never going to be the one to figure this out. And it's so depressing.
There is people on my stream telling me there was a guy who streamed it for like 11 hours. And I'm just like, Jesus. Holy fuck.
I think you need to walk away for a little bit when you've been playing it.
I had to walk away. Yes, I was just like, I love the stream. Thank you so much. But I got to step away from RE7 for a little bit. Because I was playing it for a while and doing everything I can to figure out everything. And it was just like, a little tiring, but it was fun though. It was really fun.
How about that guy that likes to welcome you to the family by punching you in the face? Fuck that guy, right?
That guy, not only fuck the finger, but fuck that guy. Welcome to the family, son. Always there. And the one thing that I didn't get, and I didn't see it yet, and I actually might look it up, and you said that it's a real, where you can escape unscathed, like you can go out of the house.
From what I hear.
All right, this is what apparently you do. If you're in the room with the phone, if you any phone ending you get, as long as you get the fuse, if you have the axe, you hold L2 with the axe in front of you, with your back up against the wall so he can't grab you. If you keep your back up against the wall and go,
that's smart.
And go down, and I did that on stream, but then when I left through the door, he still grabbed me.
He grabbed me downstairs.
Yeah, so it's like, well, the thing is, if you get to the fireplace room with the key, then he won't grab you. You can actually not worry about it. As long as you make it downstairs with your back hugging the wall, like if you hug the wall, go downstairs, then that's fine. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you if you do that, then you're just gonna have no problems at all. But the thing is, I don't know how to get out of the house without getting attacked. Because
you just just keep trying it until you get it, because I keep getting further and further when I answer the phone. Like I said, he didn't attack me until I got basically to the bottom stairs.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. You just gotta. That's a smart idea though. Stay against the wall so he can't grab you, because then you can always see in front of you. Nobody's coming behind you.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, because I made it to the door without him, because apparently people were on the stream, they're like, all right, you're good now. You don't have to worry about hugging the wall. And then I let go and I'm fine. But it was because I put the key in the door to open it. I thought because I avoided him, the game knew that I can escape. But the game still made him appear behind me when I opened the door, like the original ending where you just leave the door and he grabs you. So I still want to figure that out. Let me know in the comments below, or let us know, because it would be always cool to hear your opinions on, or if you guys have done it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Somebody's always gonna know more than we do, so always, it would be nice to
people study this shit in and out. So
opinions and feedback.
Yeah, kudos to you guys who study this stuff. And there was a guy who sent me a map of where all the ghosts are.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, holy shit. I think his name
People
was...
are getting into it, dude.
Yeah, his name was like Coach.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Coach. It was like something Coach. I forget his the first part of his name, but you know who you are if you're listening to this. Thank you. He sent me a map where and there's a thing where it's like if you turn down the audio and you turn up the voice, and I did this, and apparently, and we heard this when we did the audio thing. So we turn the audio. We fucked around with the audio. You turn it to 7. You turn everything to 7, and apparently. When Andre and the one host or whatever, he's like, they're about to kick open the door, because you can see a ghost outside when they kick open the door. There's 7 ghosts you can see in the house.
I didn't see that.
We heard, and the stream heard it, and I went back and in the stream, because I didn't hear it because my TV was low, obviously. I didn't want to pick up, in the mic and stuff. You can hear a phone ring when you're out on the porch. Like, people were like, Did you hear that phone ring? And I was like, you guys heard a phone ring? And they're like, yeah, we literally just heard a phone ring. And I was like, are you kidding? Like, that is insane. I never heard that before. And yeah, so that was like right before they kicked in the door, before they were like explaining, so are these like 2 like hillbillies? Like, what was going on here? Like, they're explaining like the thing.
2 hillbillies?
Yeah.
The guy with the weird elbows that are like bent back too far, and he looks really awkward when he walks around with
he's all crazy
goofy
shit.
Arms.
He's like, no, they weren't hillbillies. They were fucking blah, blah, blah. But,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like crazy. And then, so... I try to see all the ghosts. I've been able to see the one outside. I saw the one through the kitchen window. I saw the one on the stairs. The ones I didn't see were the one in the room with the hanging little dolls. I didn't see the ghosts in there. There's apparently, if you crawl, like, you know how like when you climb down the ladder and he's just like, all right, go down. Like, this is my hero shot of me coming down. Like, while you're fucking going down, when it like. As you're going down the ladder, as you see the top of the ladder with your 2 hands, you see the ghost behind him. And I didn't see that, but I saw it in the video of where all the ghosts were, but I never triggered it. So apparently it's hit and miss, and people were saying you get a different ending if you get all 7 in one go, but apparently that's impossible. And then there was rumors that if you did all 7, the fuse box will short out. Like, there's so much shit that I don't know if it's true or rumors or trolls, like just like fucking around, but it's crazy, dude. The realm of stuff that to do in this teaser is insane, and I appreciate it for that. Yeah, it's fun.
That fuse box isn't gonna go out because I hit that fucker with an axe, and that didn't do anything.
Oh, dude, I started chopping shit, and it didn't do.
I was hitting everything.
Yeah, and then there was someone who was like, "How about you toss the mannequin down the hole?" And like the mannequin disappears if you try to kick it with your feet. When you bring it through that door where you wake up, that room, it disappears at a certain point. It just stops. So
it's ridiculous the things people are finding, and that's kind of what they want.
They wanted it.
And that's great. It's great. And a little thing I found, which probably has nothing to do with it, but it's interesting. The guy that punches you, he looks exactly like the guy in the picture above the fireplace.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. So that's just an interesting little thing they added into the game, and there's secrets to be found. So anybody, after you're done listening to this podcast, go find the secrets.
Go find the secrets, man. There's more there. When I played it my first time, I did the quickest like playthrough just because I didn't know. I was just like, oh, this is it. And then I went back, and that's why I streamed it a lot more, because I was like, oh, like let me stream and see what's going on.
I knew it couldn't be it. There's secrets.
Oh yeah, they put a lot of time into this, and like they have plenty of things that that people are going to be wanting to know. And I can't wait till the actual game comes out, and then it's like, oh, there's a million different stuff you can do. And
the whole game's like
that. It's the realm of replay value is going to be so high. It's not just like New Game Plus anymore,
If the whole thing is like that, it could get extremely tedious. Maybe they might want to keep it a little more straightforward with the actual game.
Yeah, it might be more linear.
With elements.
It is just a teaser, so there might just be like, well, let's put this out, have people fuck around with it for a while, be able to play it, be able to have theories, and there's people that have theories of like the family, and there's like, there's.
I don't want to be part of your damn family. That's my theory.
Yeah.
This is not a good way to welcome me to the family.
Not a good way to welcome me to the family. And dude, there was also like the clock that's in the demo. There's a clock by like the stairs to your left, and they're like, try to like check the finger in front of the clock because it could be a compass, and it moved in front of the clock too. But the thing is like, again, with the whole it's a bug thing. Another secret. So apparently, if you have the axe, and apparently it's a texture glitch, but shout out to whoever helped me on the stream yesterday. I shout them out on the stream so they know who they are. But I had the axe. If you stand in the phone room in the doorway and you aim your axe with the shadow, not the axe.
Wow.
The wall,
that's too much.
the wall in front of you will have a circle on it. And apparently, like, they were saying that that's like a secret room and that you could try to like smash it. I tried to smash it, nothing worked. I tried to smash it with the shadow, it didn't work. But yeah, so where you open that door, so like where the mannequins are, that stairway goes down, that door to your right where the phone is, stand in that door with the axe and look straight ahead, and you'll see a circle on like the wall. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, and there's people that's saying, oh, it's a texture glitch, but there's people saying it's hint towards something. And then on the bookshelf near the fireplace, there's an arrow on the bookshelf engraved, and it's pointing upward. And I'm just like, what? Like, how do people find this? Like,
this is why I don't try to figure this stuff out, because people find this shit and I would never find this.
That's what I'm saying, and they were helping me out so much. And I was like, dude, you guys are fucking awesome. Like, you guys helped me out so much. It was so cool.
That is.
So, yeah, there's so much stuff to just... And there's writing on the fuse. Like, there's like a weird writing on the fuse you pick up.
I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's like, wow.
From what I read, the axe doesn't have much of a purpose.
I read that too.
The finger has purpose.
And then they were saying, it was so funny because like the stream was fucking around. They're just like, because we kept like joking about stuff that was true and not true, and they were just like, acoustic guitar confirmed, and like something confirmed. It was so funny.
Dre Beats confirmed.
Yeah.
Just go on videotape and go upstairs.
It was just, like someone was like cocaine confirmed. Like, it was so funny. Like there's just so many.
Great.
There's so many jokes because there was just the realms of stuff to do, and then there's a whole thing where it's like chop the door at the end of the hallway down. It's like you can't because it has a broken doorknob. Tried the boarded up doors,
didn't work.
And then there's people saying, well, there's 7 boards on each door. Like 7 is like the thing, and then it's like you can hear like different audio if you just turn everything down and leave the voice audio up.
Creepy.
Which I did.
Yeah.
I turned the voice audio up and I didn't hear anything. They were saying turn the voice audio to 10, turn everything else down, then go upstairs and listen to the headphones, like listen by the headphones that are on the table. And then there was people saying, well, those aren't headphones. Those are things people wear in helicopters to muffle out the sound. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
that kind of does look like what they are.
This is so crazy, man. It's weird. It's exciting. It's
exciting, and people are engaged. People are into it, and that's I don't know. They couldn't hope for anything better.
If this was a demo of Resident Evil 7, and it was just behind the back and shit, it would not be like this. Okay.
No, it
would not be like this at all. So I just want to throw that out there, and like, and that's the thing. You know, I feel like now it's out there. People are doing videos on YouTube. People are doing Let's Plays, scare cams, all that shit. And there was the one comment where I put on my video, the parody funny video of me reading the comments, and it was like, oh, like, you know, this is going to be that audience of just like people who don't know shit about Resident Evil, like they're going to be doing scare cams. It's like, that's going to happen anyway, whether you like it or not.
It's going to happen, and it's not a bad thing. You know, that's just getting the game out there to a wider audience.
Exactly.
And they always want to do the Call of Duty thing to catch a wider audience, and it wasn't the right thing to do. And if, you know, now this is a different audience, this is a horror audience, and sure, why not? You know, that's a similar audience that they wanted, so why not get more people into it?
And if they're a bad Let's Player, like, PewDiePie or anybody like that I don't like, it's like, hey, it's not the game's fault that they're just annoying. You know what I mean? Like, I could, like, me and you could do a stream or a Let's Play all of it and be calm as fuck, because that's our personality. Yeah. Like, we don't give a shit. We're just there to have a good time and, you know, have like the audience engage and you know, just chill out with it. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have the people overreact and be like, oh my god, like, or the ones that, I'm a girl gamer and I'm playing this game, cringeworthy stuff. You know, it's like, okay, we get it, you're a girl gamer, like, but girls play games.
It's
like,
all,
come on.
It's all free publicity.
It is. It is.
And if these people do start playing it, that's only better for them.
I agree.
For Capcom. That's only better for Capcom.
I agree. And it also will, and that's the thing, man. It's like, this is going to reach a new audience. Like, they're, like, again, I think the way they're marketing it, and, you know, I call it Resident Evil 7. I'm not going to call it Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I know that's like the title.
No, it's Resident Evil 7 Before Kitchen.
Before Kitchen, yeah.
Before you telling me it was something different this whole time?
But that means in Japan it's called Biohazard 7 Resident Evil. Is it called that in Japan?
That would make sense. Yeah. Or no, it's probably Resident Evil 7. I don't
Biohazard
know, man.
Kitchen. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, Biohazard Kitchen. You know, don't go into...
Yes.
What was Before Kitchen? Like, I want to know more about.
I want to know what the hell Before Kitchen was, but You know,
What was it? Real quick on that before Kitchen. I was listening
Yes.
to it was kind of funny. I can't remember which kind of funny podcast it was. But they were saying there was a demo at Comic-Con that was called Kitchen, and it was a horror
Oh.
VR game. I wonder, I don't know if it ties in together or not, but it was on the subject of Resident Evil when they were talking about it. And so I thought that was interesting.
Huh.
Okay, so this Kitchen actually might have been a thing
code
before.
name maybe, like Codename Kitchen
Yeah.
was Resident Evil 7. You never know.
And that made more sense, okay, before Kitchen, so yeah.
Because it's like,
But that before Kitchen threw me off. It wasn't before Kitchen, it was Resident Evil.
that would have been so cool if they did it. No, that's the thing. People would have really called it PT if they were like released something. They said, "Oh, before Kitchen, it's out now," and then you play it, and then at the end it says Resident Evil 7 because that's what PT
Oh, for
did.
sure.
That's what PT did. But they were like, "Now let's just say it's Resident Evil 7," and just to like have people engaged in it. But yeah, I mean that we could wrap it up here. But I mean, is there anything else you want to say about Resident Evil 7 or your final thoughts before we get out of here?
Real quick on that, what happens if when somebody does beat the game, they're walking out of the house, the camera pans up, and guess who it is? Leon Kennedy.
Leon Kennedy. Welcome to the family.
What?
Oh, wait.
Again? Mind blow.
Honestly,
see that happening.
Okay, before we get out of here, who would you want to see as a main character?
A new character.
Whether it's a new, I don't know, maybe a new character, since Capcom said like, all right, there's still going to be characters, or this isn't going to be the characters that meet,
Yeah.
Charlie or whoever the fuck his name is. Who would you like to see as like a main character? Probably existing, or maybe you don't want an existing. Like, I want to hear your opinion. Maybe you want a new character.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I would really like to see a new character.
Okay.
If they want to add in, characters like that little Easter egg of the umbrella on the umbrella logo on the helicopter in the picture, if they want to add in other characters like that, cool. Maybe if that was added on the phone, cool. But as far as a main character goes, I want it to be a new character, and a big thing this Resident Evil 7 needs to do, like the originals, is have memorable characters. Make these characters likable. Make us interested in these characters, and I would like to see a new character that they were trying to, make as iconic as Leon or Chris or Jill or Claire. Let's try a new one. This is new and fresh. Let's try a new character. That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, I think I'd like to see somebody like Jill being the main character.
That wouldn't be a bad thing.
I think Jill just deserves her own game and a new creepy, fucked up, like she's by herself, vulnerable kind of thing. Maybe she doesn't want to do this line of work anymore. Maybe she's not with the BSAA ever since we read that letter in Revelations 2 that she sent to Barry, saying, hey, I'm recovering, my hair finally got back its, its color and all this stuff. I don't know.
And then she gets thrown right back into the shit.
Gets right
Stay
back
out of
into
creepy old houses.
How do I get myself into this fucking Umbrella shit? She's just completely latched. She might as well just join Umbrella at this point. She's so connected to this thing.
Right, you see ghosts in the newspaper, you don't go there.
Yeah,
okay,
please
when it
don't.
says there's ghosts, don't
Jill,
go there.
you've been a part of Raccoon City.
Live to stay away from that.
Jill, you've been a part. Same thing with Leon. Leon, you were in Raccoon City. Claire, you're in Raccoon City. Chris, Jill, come on. If you see something with fucking ghosts on it, please avoid it.
Just chill.
Chill out.
Take time off.
Take some
You
time off.
deserved
Take
it.
a vacation. That would work good. There's people saying they like to see Rebecca. There's people that saying they like to see. I've heard Billy too. I've heard a few different things. I like to see Jill. I like to see Jill or Chris or I know Chris is just done, but so they could do Jill. That's why Jill was so absent from the last story. Like she didn't even fucking exist. That I feel like it would be appropriate to bring her back. So that's what I would like to see. Plus some new characters. I like to see her team up with some new characters too. Like maybe like there's other people that she talks to, or like there's teammates or something like that are around, or she might be by herself. But it's like, how does one person get by themselves in this house? Like how does one person separate themselves? New character or old character? How does a person get to this location? And that's why I think this introduction, they're going to be like, oh my God, these people went missing in this house. What the fuck happened?
And the house ends up just taking you in with more and more secrets, and you get deeper and deeper.
Yeah, and somebody has to investigate it because, shit, these people are missing. We're not just going to let their fucking families and friends be. Like, we got to investigate it.
Wouldn't it be cool to be like an agent, like a private
that
investigator,
would be
or like
cool.
an FBI or something? That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah, a new character like like
I could
completely
totally
new.
see that.
Yeah.
So I could see it from your side if it was Jill with the right story and the right writing. That could be very interesting. I also could see it from my
Yes.
point that if it was like an
I
investigator
agree.
to go into the house,
I'm all
maybe
for
with
that
a
too.
partner, your partner goes missing, gotta find your partner.
Because now we're just like, oh, like
Possibilities.
yeah, that's the thing. Because like we would always talk about who we want to see in RE7, but then we would be like, well, we got to see what the groundwork is first, like see what they're trying to do. Now that we see it, we see what it's set
That
up
great
like,
groundwork.
and
Yeah.
and now we're just like, all right, cool. The everything is kind of like falling into place. So now we can kind of think of like who we would want to see in this situation and in this in this kind of a story. So I see it from both perspectives. Yeah, that's really cool that I'm all for that. You know what I mean?
And that's why I remain optimistic about this game, is because it has the potential, it has the groundwork, it has the elements of the originals, and it has a new, fresh twist. Honestly, PT isn't using it. That's canceled. Why not let Resident Evil try it? Give them a shot. I think they're doing a great job with the teaser, and I can't wait to see what they do with the game. Let's just hope they don't drop the ball. But yeah, let's stay optimistic. And I'm actually excited for this Resident Evil, for as different as it is. So
oh well, you know,
let's see what happens.
I agree. And also, before we get out of here, apparently a new article just now, 4 minutes ago, was posted by Capcom.
Breaking news!
Breaking news right now. But so apparently it says GameSpot sat down with I can't pronounce his name, but it's like Masachika Kawada. Resident Evil 7 interview at E3, but they're talking about the new direction in the series and how it will play into. They're saying that he's excited to have new fans on board. He hopes that the Resident Evil 7 demo takes in as much people as possible. I'm trying to actually pull this up on my phone real quick. This says, you should, let's see, I'm going to try to pull this up. They said, I don't know, this is probably re-quoting the E3 interview too. They're probably just late on posting it, but they're saying, it says that playing this game VR will be very scary. He said it'll be too scary. He said make your family watch in terror. If you feel it's
too scary,
if it's too much of an intense experience to play on your own, there's always fun of enjoying horror in a communal setting. He said maybe with your family or friends, blah blah blah. It says he confirms that the game is set in the Resident universe, but it's making some major breaks with its predecessors, both in its story. It's ditching the G and T virus in favor of a more psychological horror in its perspective, where every other game in the Resident Evil timeline has used a third-person camera. Resident Evil 7 action game takes place in first person. Game director says that the changes how Capcom has to approach the development. He said it really gets in the mindset that is happening to me and that I am the one on screen. It forces us to go down a different route where characters are not just rock-punching superheroes. They have to be more of an everyman because you're in the shoes. Oh, they took a shot at Resident Evil 5. Look at that. It's a first-person view, makes players feel like they're actually visiting Resident Evil 7's spooky setting. As is the game's VR functionality makes it feel like they're trapped here. It feels like you're stuck in this place. You're not equipped. You're not equipped for this. But yeah, so that was about it. So that's just a little.
That's interesting. That does it clears some things up. It will be first person.
Will be first person, yeah.
It does in the site we were saying that it looks like it's going to be more psychological. That's confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I raises a question is now with the player, is the player going to have much of a backstory because they want you to be the player? And if they do add a backstory and it is like say a Jill or somebody that has, how into that character are you going to get because you know it's not you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I that makes sense. That makes sense. I think like, I mean, do you feel like if they ditched the characters in general, do you think that would hurt it a little bit if they just never mention any of these characters? Because like if it's in the universe, but then you just make it all these new characters, it's like at that point it might as well just be a reboot of its own thing. I mean, I
do like the callbacks to the actual the other Resident Evil games. I don't think it would hurt it if they got rid of all the characters. I think if done right, it would be fine. Now, if the game suffers from story writing and all new characters that don't take off,
mm-hmm.
then yeah, it would have been better to have some callbacks. But like I said, if done right, it should be fine not to have any of the characters. It is a new thing. I would still like to see mentions of some of the characters. And I honestly think that with the right story, having a story behind your character is totally fine. You still can get into the shoes of the player, even with the story, if it's interesting and engaging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think like at the end of the day, you're gonna have people that are either for it or against it, and I think you're gonna have people that are willing to accept change and new stuff, like we were talking about earlier. And I'm really excited to see what's going on, who's gonna appear, who's gonna surprise us, because of course they're not gonna say, oh, this person's in the game, you know what I mean? They're just gonna be, it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, it's like Jill in RE5, where it's like, oh,
every character you're running into is just another character from a previous game.
Yeah, it's like you
nice
don't
to
know.
See you here,
Barry? Is that you, Barry?
Yes, it is me.
Yes,
here to save you.
Yes, I was talking to the stream yesterday. I was like, it'd be awesome if Barry just showed up and just saved the day with his Magnum, because
yes.
If you just put Barry in any situation, you'll be okay. So.
That would bring the cheese. The classics did have the cheese.
I know they're going for a more serious route, but come on, Barry is just perfect. He can't.
We could take a little cheese.
We could take the cheese, please. I like to see safe rooms again too. Typewriters.
Oh, I would too.
Please, come on.
Yeah, that and I would like to see it save rooms, because, then you have the should I save now? If I die, I'm gonna have to go all the way back.
Ink ribbons too. Please do ink ribbons. Please, just find them.
I don't know. Would you rather see the save system, or would you rather see the chapters? With this style of game, because you got to take in that this is a different style, and the chapters actually might work more with this style than they did with previous Resident Evils. For as much as I would like to see a typewriter in first person and go up and check it out.
I guess I would like to see the typewriter, but considering it's first person and the style, I guess chapters.
Maybe the chapter ends when you get to a typewriter, kind of like Doom.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that would work, because it's like, it's one thing if we didn't know, but now we know what the game's trying to do.
That would be cool.
That would be.
And each chapter has a memorable area. You're in the house, then you're in the basement, then you're in, oh god, not another underground lab.
Yeah, you're just like, Jesus Christ, these fucking Umbrella assholes. But the thing is like I said, if it's first person, just try to make it innovative and different. Just try to bring that aspect to it, and just make it combat, and make it just, because that will satisfy me to accept that change. It'll make it a little bit easier for me to digest everything, where it's like, okay, I understand. So,
I like what they're doing. So I trust that going forward, they'll make the right decision. Is it going to be chapters? Is it going to be save room? I trust them so far. So I hope we don't get burned. Yeah. But it's always good to be optimistic about it. We're going to get it anyways.
Yeah, we'll be able to report on it here and there. But well, that about wraps up the show. Thanks again, JJ, for coming on and talking about all this stuff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, man. I think one of the last times I was on is we were discussing how we were disappointed that Resident Evil 7 wasn't at E3 back in 2012 or 2013.
That was 2014? You definitely weren't 2014? On 2 years ago. I mean, wow. I don't think it was that long. Well, the thing is that the Resident Evil news has been so, dead. I haven't made a show, really. The ones I've done, because, me and Richard wanted to do more traditional, one-on-one, because we were doing a lot of guests at a time. We were doing, 4 or 5 guests, and we were just like, all right, let's scale it back a bit. And then by that time, no news was breaking, so we're just like, well, we can't really record a show talking about...
You can't do a show with no news.
Talking about remasters for, an hour. You can't really... You know what I mean? So we did the one show that had just the fan questions, so we did that. So that kind of, sparked up. So I think... so I think I'll be doing a few shows in the next, within a month or so, just because, I feel like I could do one where I can do another one with another guest, and I could do one where we can take questions and stuff like that. People that are going to be coming from both angles from.
Find somebody who absolutely hates it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I want to hear everybody's opinion. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we could do, more episodes and stuff like that as time goes on. But is there any stuff you want to plug? You want to plug your Facebook pages for anybody who wants to know them?
If you did want to check out my Facebook pages, one of the
I'll link them down
moderators,
below, by the way. So.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, the Remake Resident Evil 2 page on Facebook. We try to cover all the news on the remake of Resident Evil 2. Plus, we cover a lot of the Resident Evil news in general. I do have a page that I run by myself. It's Residents of Evil.
Okay, I gotta check that out. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I just cover all the news from all around. It's a little less Resident Evil 2 catered. And then I'm on Twitch, and I do stream a lot of Resident Evil, and I just got done streaming 7. I'll probably stream 7 here again. It's just JJTRU, so JJ True. That's my Twitch, and that's about all I have to plug.
All right, awesome. So thank you, and thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting. Yeah.
Thank you for having me back, and I guess guys remain optimistic about it.
Yeah, that we'll leave you with that, and just keep we'll keep on the lookout for any kind of news or announcements, because now I feel like we're gonna keep getting hints of more stuff throughout the months here and there. Like as time goes on, especially maybe some new trailers or some new screenshots or any kind of stuff that leaks maybe. So we'll be able to report on it. But thank you guys, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Backup! I need backup!
A rookie cop facing unspeakable evil.
There's something really wrong here. These things aren't dying. I just blasted this thing, and it's still alive!
One of the most anticipated games of 1998, Resident Evil 2. If the suspense doesn't kill you, something else will.
Everyone's gonna die!